We don't yet see your screen, JF. So now okay, I
You
think
should see it now.
We are.
Okay, very good. Okay, so the topic is, as you said, converting the multi-source UNX to single source, because as you've heard earlier today, the multi-source UNXs will no longer be supported in BI 2025 and beyond. So I will give you a quick introduction, and then we'll look at a problem. And of course, I guess what you're here for is to have a solution, or at least some suggested approaches to fix that. What is a multi-source universe? And I will refer to them as MSU in the future for short. If you are familiar with the UNX structure, what you will have is one data foundation, and then it allows, and that's a keyword, multiple connections. And those multiple connections are could be different database engines. So we have a few combinations on the screen, like SQL Server and Oracle. But in practice, what we see in the field is that we will have also cases where we just have one connection. In other words, the universe has multi-source enabled, or is multi-source enabled, but there's only one connection that is there. Why that happened? Well, we can talk about it, but that is something that happened in the past. As a matter of fact, some customers, and I must say I've done it in the past as well, they create a new universe. They have that choice between multi-source and single source. New feature in the UNXs, and yeah, we never know, so we'll check the multi-source option. There are downsides to having done that. If you could have gone with a single source universe, first of all, you're restricted to pure ANSI 92 SQL, so you cannot leverage the specific function, specific syntax that is available with your particular database engine. You have to basically go to the least common denominator for that. And there's a hit on performance as well, because the data federation engine has to manage the sources. So everything goes through one more layer that has to manage the connectivity between business objects and the underlying database. So as we said before, come BI 2025, there are no such thing as multi-source UNXs, so you must convert to a single source universe. So what's the big problem with that? Well, once you create your universe, you cannot change what it is. You cannot convert a multi-source universe to single source universe, or for that matter, the other way around, but we don't care about that one. Okay, so once you create it, you cannot change the type. So the next part will be to discuss the possible approaches to get over that problem. And we have two possible situations. The first one is when we just have one source. So for all intents and purposes, it is a single source universe. Unfortunately, it is defined as multi-source. And then we have the case where you actually used the multi-source capability. That is, you have more than one connection, more than one source for your universe. So what can you do in the first case? You have only one source in the universe. Well, out of the box, you do not really have an option other than recreate the universe from scratch. So you have to create a new data foundation and choose that single source option. You will have to build a new business layer, that is where you have your objects and the conditions. and you will have to recreate everything. So the joins in the data foundation, any context, everything. You basically are creating a brand new universe from scratch. There's very little that you can reuse. You may possibly have limited copy paste capability, but the syntax is different between the two flavors of the universe. So it's a manual process. Let's face it. The other option is to use 360 UNIV, a Wiiisdom product that is actually unique in the sense that it will do that recreation of the universe entirely transparently, automatically for you. So we will take a universe, and I will demonstrate how it works in just a minute. We will take a universe that has been created as a multi-source universe with a single connection, and it will create right next to it a single source universe that is a perfect replica of the former.
So JF, one thing I like to stress as well is when you're doing that, we've actually just we just support a customer who had some single source universe or multi-source with single connection universe. And in his case, actually, just to rebuild a universe to do this manually, for him, the work was like 3 to 6 months because of the size of his universe per universe to redo. So it is a huge work to do that manually. And on the top of it, as well as each time you touch a universe, essentially, this is how you build your trust with your users. So I guarantee you there will be a lot of issues where you need to make sure that you test everything out on the universes because you don't want to lose the trust from your users. And you're going to do so many changes there that the chances of errors are it's not will they happen, they will happen.
It's a manual process. It's human. Humans are imperfect, and so that's not a question. It's a guarantee that there will be some errors.
And here we've got 360 UNIV where we actually have built that tool because it's such a big problem for customers. Actually, SAP came to us and checked with our product team if we were able to build that tool. And I can say very comfortably today is we're the only ones to have a tool to do that. And we spent actually quite a few resources to build that tool because it's such a big problem. So.
And let's not forget that what you will be doing essentially in either case, you will be creating a new universe next to the original. That is true also when you use the 360 UNIV. So the next step is to repoint your documents to the new universe. And that, of course, as you probably know, we also have a bulk solution for that. But that is a different story. But that you would have to do in either case. So that's why I am not dwelling on that just for now. So let me show you how it works. I am going to 360 and I'm going to log on. I remind you that when you log on to 360 Suite, you use a business objects session. So you are going to see in this environment as much and as little as you would in, let's say, the CMC or the BI Launchpad. So one of the features of the universe management we have here is convert multi-source UNXs to single source. And this is how it works. So I will filter the list of UNXs that is provided to me. And I have multi-source, one source, multi-source with multiple sources, and a single source universe, which obviously does not need to be converted. And I have a little issue here. I don't see the bottom of my screen. I will click on convert. And now 360 UNIV goes through the different universes I have provided here, and it will tell you that the multi-source with a single connection was converted. The other two, well, the single one does not need to be converted. And for the multiple connections, multiple sources, we do not do it straight out of the box. Okay. Now, if I now refresh my display here, what I will see is that I have one more. Let me go to universes, universe folders. Go to demo, and you will see that I have here one extra converted universe, which is not in this location, but I hope you will take my word for it. I don't want to waste your time here. So that is the general principle of this approach. So single source, I'm sorry, multi-source with only one connection, with only one source, will be handled that way. And then you will use the bulk repointing to reattach the newer version of the universe to the relevant documents.
And we support multiple customers doing that, so it's a very straight process with 360. And JF, the other topic as well that is really hot is with customers that have got multi-source with multi-connection. How do you deal with that?
So first of all, let's talk about the high level. The only way to work around that is to modify, to split the universes. So you will have multiple sets, let's say, of tables, and therefore objects that are based on them that are simply not compatible. You will have an Oracle and SQL Server. So the approach will be to create one universe per source type. Let's say if your multiple sources are all Oracle, maybe you can get away with letting Oracle manage the different connections. It depends on your particular infrastructure, but by and large, that's what you will have to do. You will have to split your universe into multiple universes, one per connection. So how do you do that? Well, again, if you don't have tools, what you will have to do is, again, create them from scratch. You're in exactly the same situation as before, except that instead of creating one universe from scratch, you will have to create two or more, one per data source. Now, and you have seen how 360 Univ works. So one approach that we can suggest that would save quite a lot of time is to make copies of that multi-source, multi-connection universe. And then for each copy, you strip everything except for one given connection. So let's take a very simple example. I have a universe with two connections, one SQL Server, one Oracle, for example. So I will make two copies. In one copy, I will remove everything that has to do with my SQL Server connection. In the other one, I will remove everything that has to do with my Oracle connection. And then we use 360 Univ like previously to make the corresponding single source universes, one for SQL Server, one for Oracle. And unfortunately, from that point onwards, what you have to do, and there's really no way around it, is that you will have to go to your documents and modify the queries. So you will have merge queries. As you have seen in 4.3, starting with a SP3, it becomes a lot easier to do, to merge those queries, because as you have seen in Gregory's demonstration on OData, you can manipulate the queries there. But long story short, you will have to create separate queries on those different universes and then organize them in the document. That is regardless of what you use. But again, with a second approach, it's a huge accelerator, because you do just a little bit of deleting instead of having to recreate everything from scratch. Bruno, you had a comment?
Yeah, no, and this is something that we support multiple customers on, and again, it will require as well less testing into it, and it's going to save you a lot of time. So that's something that we challenged before. In some cases, we have customers with over 500 tables. I've even seen a customer with 1,000 tables. So, I mean, it's whether you've got 50, 100 or more, it will be a challenge regardless. We've got 2 questions from Shane as well, if we'd appreciate to get your feedback on. Shane, if you don't mind displaying the first question. The first question is essentially do you have some interest to receive some documentation from the Wiiisdom team about 360 for migration, cloud migration, database migration, UNV to UNX, convert, repoint, test, of course, because it's not only a matter of converting your UNVs, you also need to do the repointing of your documents and test them. Also, if you're interested about our solution for data services, for documentation, or any other 360 suite solution. So are you interested to get some information about migration, cloud migration, database migration, PC migration, UNV to UNX, documentation, data services, or 360 suite solution? Thank you, Shane. And then we have a second question as well. If you're interested or you're tired or not to hear about us. So Shane, if you can show the next question for us. So if you're interested to do a one-on-one meeting with JF and myself to talk about 360, to get a deep dive into 360 suite, let us know. So if you're interested, just click yes. If not, just click no. That's all good as well. So, and we will do our best to bring you value with JF on that. So anyway, thank you very much on that. So thank you very much, Shane. We have a question from Madhu, JF, about what about linked universes?
So linked universes, again, as long as we're dealing with single source, they will convert just fine. So that is not an issue at all.
Okay, if I don't see any other questions on that, so I think we will be moving on to the next session here. Just give me a second. Okay. So the next session is going to be about data spheres. So when we actually prepared for the user group with Protiviti, with JF and CB on data, we actually had discussed about data sphere, and we've seen there was a lot of traction on that, and people were saying, hey, what is data sphere? So Nathan actually came up with the proposal actually to present a topic just on data spheres. So Nathan, I'll pass it over to you. If you can do your screen share and start presenting, Nathan.